Hello and welcome to another YouTube video in this Journey Sessions container. It's great to be here. I am feeling so excited to talk with you today about your shadow and shadow work and opening up to shadow work and what's holding you back and why you need to do it and how you get stuck and all the things about shadow work. And I'm really going to zero in on the sacredness and the utmost importance of all of us being devoted to our own shadow work and not viewed and held and continually seen as something that is inconvenient or wrong or bad or hard, or like that's all part of a collective lie that, first of all, that we're supposed to be happy all the time, that we need to stay positive, that if you go into the shadows, you're going to get stuck there, like these labels of being depressed and feeling lost and like not having life force energy. I actually think so much of that is resistance to the shadow. And so I'm really going to focus on today. This is the message that wants to come through, is that some of the greatest reclamation you can do of your own personal power, and some of the greatest way you can tap into your courage and your strength and like the most compassionate, unconditional, loving energy is through shadow work. And it's through understanding your own shadow. There are always huge gifts in the darkest places. And many of us are unwilling to go to those darkest places and get those gifts. Like many of us are okay just living the status quo, having a consistent feeling or a longing that there's more, something better, something more fulfilling, something more for us. But the unwillingness to go into the shadow just makes it like, well, and that's okay. I'll just live with that longing. I'll just try my best to create a life that fulfills that longing without actually destroying who I think I am and my current reality in order to do it, right? We're so attached to what we think is safe and acceptable and real that we're unwilling to go into our shadows to actually retrieve the gifts that will allow us to create the true reality, experience the actual aliveness and the fucking unparalleled freedom that comes from doing this work. And I'm not here to say like that's wrong or to shame it or to talk negatively about it. I'm just pointing out that that's just what some of us do. That's the choice that some of us make, is like, I ain't doing that. And that's like, that in itself is courageous, right? That in itself is hard. That in itself is a powerful warrior decision. Like, I am not going to go to the depths to retrieve the greatest gift and shatter my reality. Like, it's just not worth it. But it's for you. It's for you if the pull is there. Let me actually, so here we are, we're going to start opening up to the journey of this, right? So how do you know that you are here to go to those depths and those places? Well, first of all, you have a massive emotional capacity. Like and it might be that you've been judging it, right? But you haven't. Like, you feel in a really deep way. You sense things in a very profuse way. You know things that maybe you can't explain, that maybe other people don't see. You have a sense of reality that isn't tangible, that isn't linear, that isn't easily explained. Like, this in itself means that you are somebody who has the capacity to voyage and to move beyond this current three-dimensional reality, right? So we call these traits intuitive, empathic, just maybe a greater consciousness or awareness. Like, these are labels that we use to describe those of us who have these traits. And it's like, cool. Like, I'm an empathic, aware, conscious, intuitive being. And I'm gonna bring those gifts to this current three-dimensional reality. But what happens is you're pulled into other places, and it's like a little bit ungrounding, and sometimes it can be confusing, and it can also be super fun and rewarding. But you know, this journey into your shadows for you because you have the capacity to journey out of this three-dimensional reality, and you have these traits, right? It's also for you if this is, so if your shadow is pulling you, so if you're somebody who is not like, you're not indulging in darkness, like you're not just like a curmudgeon-y, negative, like victim person. Like, I would say that let's look at it through the lens of the victim mindset. So if you're, you get pulled by your shadow but it's from a victim place, like, the world's against me, you have to put up walls to protect yourself, but you're actually shutting life out, the world and relationships and opportunities out. That's something different. Yes, that's you're living in your shadow, but you're stuck in it. So something I'll share more later that might help if you're in that place. But I'm talking about your shadow pulls you and you're more in a place of curiosity and openness and a knowing that there's something for you in that deeper place, right? And this might be reflected back to you through other practices, like if you're in therapy, or if you do spiritual work, or if you're in a circle or a community of people who are also doing this work. And it's actually a very empowering conversation to move into these darker places. And I want to point out not to change it. Like, as somebody who's come through the last handful of years in the coaching industry and who took a very deep dive into thought work, you're not going into these places, these shadowy places, because they need to change. And like, you need to come up with a different story because this one doesn't serve you. No. Just as the most magnificent, empowering, brilliant light that brings the greatest gifts of prosperity and abundance and love and connection, just as that is something to be rewarded and you know, like desired and celebrated, so is the shadow. It's both. It's I think there's some beliefs, there's parts of us that are like, well, if we move into the shadow and transform it, that's when we get this. But it's not transforming it because it's wrong. It's meeting it courageously as a spiritual warrior and receiving the immense gifts that are here so that you can access this. Like, this is a portal. The shadow is a portal. So to be able to enter into it with like a warrior's, okay, now we're going to get into like the tool. I'm calling it a tool. The most powerful tool of the spiritual warrior who is moving into the depths of their shadows is the heart. You cannot enter the depths of the shadows from a place of unconditional love, curiosity, openness, non-attachment, with a closed heart, right? Because that's what the heart is what rules all of those qualities. And that's what allows you to actually receive the gift. You have to go in with an open heart. You are the light that is voyaging into the darkness to reclaim, to reconnect, to reinstate parts of you that have gone underground. So just as I'm sharing this and I'm talking about the heart, and we'll go into more of a heart practices a little bit later, but I just want you to feel like for yourself right here, the truth of this, the difference between relating to your shadow from a victim place and relating to it from the most empowered spiritual warrior being that you are. Relating to your shadow and making it shut down your heart or put walls around your heart versus knowing that having your heart open and having it be the tool that is your greatest resource that you have that's part of your journey, right? So just feel into these kind of opposing ways of being in your shadow and just decide right here, like, which one do I want to play with? Which one is calling to me? Which one serves me? Which one, I'm going to give you some questions here. How has relating to my shadow from a victim place served me? And why is that not going to serve me moving forward? Another question you can ask is, if I allow my heart to be the fullest, to be open to the fullest, greatest capacity while I'm journeying into my shadow, what becomes available to me? What happens when I bring my greatest capacity for compassion and love to myself and my shadow? What would change about how I think of myself if I claim my spiritual warrior and my capacity to journey into my shadow? So those are some really great reflection questions to really understand how you get to shift, how you relate to the calling. If you're called into your shadow to do this work, how can you change how you relate to yourself in this work? Okay. I touched on this earlier. I'm going to talk a little bit about this now. The reason why it's so hard, the reason why I have to, not just me, but so many other spiritual leaders and teachers are needing to present shadow work and talk about it in this way is because we are seeped in cultures, we're seeped in a collective narrative about things that feel like death, right? In North America, and our death culture is so contracted. It's so dark. It's so painful. And it's really hard. I mean, just ask people who are grieving the loss of a loved one. And not even like a physical death, like any death of anything, any way, at any level. Just notice what it's like, either in your own life, but also you can look around at other people, like how we collectively hold space for grief, how we value what it actually requires to move through hard, dark, painful times, right? how many times are you offered a drink, right? That's to cover it up. That's to feel better. That's to numb out. Just think of something positive. Go do something that feels good. And that's not like bad advice. I'm not saying that's not helpful to bring balance in, but at the expense of not feeling the pain and moving through it, that can be very detrimental in the long run, right? So we're kind of collectively in a space of like, oh shit, I'm scaling a wall and there's like, obviously I'm being pulled down, but I'm going to do everything I can to scramble. I'm going to use all my energy from a place of sheer terror to scramble up this wall and like pull myself up so that I don't go down there. When actually, if you just let go and release and go down to where life is pulling you, from a place of trust, from a place of heart opening. Like nothing can destroy your heart. Your heart can experience the most insane grief and pain and loss and devastation. And your heart can break, but it always just breaks open. It always just, the heart is a fucking incredible energy center. Okay. Only you can tap down, close off, wall in your heart. When you give yourself permission to fall, and not from a victim place, not from like, oh, fuck, here I go, I'm gone, I'm lost forever, which might be part of it for moments, but you keep your heart open and activated and you let your light illuminate the journey that you're being pulled into, you open up to a whole new reality. You get to see things, you get to experience things, you get to discover things that most people aren't willing to do. Like just think of archaeologists, right? Think of people who go deep into the earth and carefully uncover lost civilizations, species, the dinosaurs, right? It's an excavation and it takes devotion. And there's always, not just in what is discovered, but in the journey itself, right, is always going to bring its own gifts. When you can allow yourself to move through the darkest, most painful places while staying utterly connected and devoted to yourself, that in itself is some of the greatest gifts you get. And then like, that's enough. And often there's more. Okay. So just to tap on the reason why we have to even have these conversations, it's because we're seeped in cultures and collective stories around like how we need to avoid negativity, which is fucking bullshit. Like if you can illuminate your heart on all things, your life just exponentially grows and the opportunities and the gifts that become available to you increases. Okay, so let's say you are somebody who's like, yeah, I'm willing to do this work. I do this work. And I'm available to do this work better. So how do you know it's time to delve into your shadow? Well, just ask yourself this. Am I already in? Is it already here? Am I already in it? And am I using any energy to not be in it? Where am I using thought work or, positive, dare I say toxic positivity or spiritual bypassing to not be right here? And if I just if I just dropped all of it, am I in my shadow? How do you know you're ready to do this work? Well, you're actively avoiding it. And if you just stop using your energy to actively avoid it and you're in it, you're ready to do this work. Okay. You feel stuck, and like your go-tos aren't, like, they're just don't have the same juice. They just don't have the same, like, the scaffolding that you're used to having, the support, the practices, the tools just aren't cutting it anymore, which is a fucking beautiful sign. Because I just had this image of, I'm gonna share this as a metaphor to just help you here. Like, when we feel stuck in this way, like our tools and our practices aren't working, and then we're like, oh fuck, oh, I'm screwed now, what do I do? I want you to just notice that if you had a scaffolding up, like the amount of scaffolding needed to support your current reality, supports your current reality. But if you're expanding in consciousness, if your heart is opening up, if your desires are getting bigger, if you're starting to imagine, dream, intend, manifest more in your life, that scaffolding is like, it's going to break under the pressure of more. So feeling stuck and noticing that your same tools that support your scaffolding aren't working is actually an indication that you just need to build up a different quality, level, size, space, or scaffolding. You just need to shift and change. And like I say this in all my spaces, like, as we spiral up, so bringing in more, inviting in more, opening up to more, we are also going to spiral down. This is the shadow work. You have something you are being invited to retrieve so that you have the energy, the intelligence, the missing pieces, so you can spiral up. Nothing's gone wrong here, right? So you're already in it, you're feeling stuck in it, and you can't get out. Your energy isn't high. This is often because we're using our energy to try to get out of it, to avoid it. And then we just don't have energy left for anything else. But when we actually surrender and fall into it, we notice that, like, oh, this is just where I'm supposed to be. Our culture overvalues productivity and like being motivated, inspired, and producing and going and going and going. It overvalues that, and it completely devalues being unmotivated, feeling a lack of energy, and uninspired. How many of you have kids and know that when your children are bored, you're like, this is the best thing for you? Boredom is the breeding ground for massive creativity, right? It's the same concept. When you're feeling like, oh, fuck, I don't have the same drive for my business anymore. I don't have the same pull to help or to show up or to create in the same way. Like, I'm feeling like everything that I thought was for me, that I've actually used to define me and I've shaped my identity around, isn't there anymore. And I'm just like lost. And I'm like, I just want to go back to that. I just want to go back to that. And I just want to go back to that. And it's like the universe is saying, we don't go back to anything. We move forward. And sometimes part of that moving forward journey, in fact, always part of that moving forward journey, part of the invitation is to stop and to move into stillness and to notice what is being asked of you and what you're being pulled to. And this will feel like deep shadow work because you are going directly against the conditioning and the programming that society and family and your own internalized narrative has put on you. Right. So this is where we add suffering to the challenge, to the pain, right? So your energy isn't high, which is fucking beautiful. Like, oh, you get to rest now. And in rest, sacred rest, more is revealed. We'll actually link a podcast I did in a previous iteration of my expression. It was the Radical Mind podcast. And I did a podcast that I had so much feedback on called Sacred Rest. And so we'll link that in here if you want to just kind of like rewire your beliefs around what rest is, because it's not scrolling, it's not watching Netflix, it's not like, that's not what rest is. That's distraction from real rest. Okay. If you're seeking answers, right? So you're like, what's happening? I don't have the same motivation. My tools aren't working. I don't know what's happening. I'm kind of turned upside down. What do I need to know? What do I need to do? What is for me? Like you're actively seeking answers. You know that you're ready to dive into this work. Another reason, another piece of evidence that you know that you're diving into shadow work is that your stories are loud. And that's them coming to the forefront of your consciousness, because they are stories. Those are conscious thoughts that are rooted in a hidden gift, right? So the gift, let me see, there's a better way for me to say this. Your stories are loud. And these are stories like, I'm not good enough. I can't do this. I don't know what I'm doing. I never get it right. Something's wrong with me. Right. So this is all part of feeling stuck, right? So your stories are loud. They're coming up to the surface because they're ready to be released, because there is a whole new paradigm that's available to you when you warrior into your shadow with your open heart and discover and reclaim your gifts, which are going to create a whole new fucking story for you. Like, amazing. Okay. Before I move on to what's next, I'm just tapping in here. Okay, we're going to move into a heart practice pretty soon, but I just want to share like what you need to know. I'm trying to read my own handwriting here. I just wrote down some quick notes. This is so good. What you need to know about this shadow work, about this warrior heart-centered journey, is that you're only going to be stuck when you fail to devote all of yourself to this journey. So like right now, I am definitely in a deep, deep shadow journey. And God, it's so juicy and it's so fucking hard. But this is what devotion looks like. I spend a majority of my day allowing myself to sit in it and to feel whatever is here for me to feel. I have started new practices, which include just a lot of time in nature. I'm doing a lot of work with nature spirits and earth energy. I'm working a lot with a different heart consciousness. And that's what's really helping me go even deeper into the shadows, because, right, so this is all about like part of your devotion is the devotion to the power of your greatest resource, which is your heart. So one of my practices that I just have started doing is accessing a different heart consciousness, because that's one of the gifts, right? Even as I'm sharing it right now, I'm like, oh yeah, and that's the gift. That's like a fucking amazing and valuable gift for me and the world. But that's been required of me. Like my old tools weren't cutting it. So I got access to new ones, and I'm practicing those tools. I've always like loved this beautiful, gorgeous place we live and walk on. Like I love the earth. I live in a gorgeous place. I visit amazing places, but the depths and the like pull and the need and my like insatiable thirst to be connected and to be in communion with the earth, the trees, the plants, the animals. Like I'm hearing and seeing things that I didn't see before. That's a practice. And that's what I am devoting myself to. Right. So there are people that would be like, you're avoiding reality. Like you need to get to work. Your house should be clean. Like Like the car should be clean. Like you should be making plans for what's happening next, la da da da, which I am actually. All those things are happening very easily because I'm only taking action on the things that are coming from these practices and what's opening up in these tools and these gifts, right? So there's a complete rearranging happening of how I'm showing up in this journey, this incredibly difficult, painful journey. I cry like streams of tears every day. Like nothing's wrong. It's beautiful. I'm connecting fully with the people who are like, I am here for you. I see you. I am holding your vision with you. I understand what you're going through. I have like, that's part of my scaffolding is like community. And that's another gift is like, wow, I don't have to do this by myself. Like my partner like left, right? Just went away, gone, right? So my wounding is like, this like child part of me that's like, I'm unlovable. No one wants me. I'm meant to be alone. And my heart, this like expanded heart consciousness is like ushering me into a new reality that has completely new truths that are like, that is not the story. And I'm experiencing it because of my practices, because I've let myself sink into this time and fully honor it, devote myself fully to it, knowing that I am 100% taken care of. We are taken care of. I will not go hungry. I will not be homeless. I will not be like, I'm not going to be Mozart, right? Like I am good. So you need to know that you can't half-ass this work. Don't like pencil shadow work into your calendar and like block out an hour a day. Like give yourself to it. Fuck everything else. Seriously. And ask yourself this, when Sarah invites me to do that, what comes up for me? Like, what are my automatic responses to that? That's all really good information. And you get to question it. Okay. I think that some of it, okay, let me just feel into this. I'm seeing that there's also this collective narrative around shadow work that when you do it, what you're like the devil comes up, like a fucking monster, like the monster under the bed or in the closet, like this childhood fantasy about the dark side always includes something that is more overbearing and powerful than us, and that actually the strength and the courage that we have to have is to fight the demon. No, it's so much easier than that. The strength and the courage is to step out of what you think is real and who you think you are, to enter into a place where what you will find is just a lost, innocent, scared, underdeveloped, underappreciated part of you. Yes, there may be sides to this part that are angry and full of rage and have daggers and but guess what? That is sacred. All those parts that's just more sacred energy for you. That's just indicating, as I say it, like what, this will be fun. What do you think is in the shadow? Like, what are you most afraid you're going to see in the shadow? I want you to write it down and describe it. And all the qualities that come through in that description, notice where you're lacking those in your life. And if you had them, and if they were transformed into the highest expression of them, or how they would come through you and who you are, how would that benefit you? How would that serve your life? You will always, always, always receive gifts in the shadow. And it's the only place you're going to find these gifts. There's no other way to this treasure chest. That's the warrior. That's what the courage is for. And the courage is how open and how much love can I have while I go to places that I've previously shut down, judged, criticized, and ridiculed. That's the edge. That's where it takes courage. And that's why this right here, I'm going to even move the camera to really honor this space, this sacred, devotional, unconditional, infinitely expansive portal to everything, everything. That's why this is your tool for this work. Because anytime you feel lost, you feel stuck, the stories are loud, you just come back to the center and you know how divinely connected, how divinely orchestrated, how perfectly timed this all is. Try to argue with me right now about the timing of the things that have opened up, shut down, broken free, collapsed, died, rebirthed, regenerated in your life. You can't argue with me about the timing of things unless you're in victim mode. Unless you're in victim mode. So let's move into this heart illuminating, strengthening practice. This is just something I want to offer them and invite you into, because this is all that matters. This is it. This is the tool. This is it. This is what it is. And remember, we're not doing this. We're not using a heart opening and a heart illuminating practice so that we can be in our hearts and avoid going into the shadow. We're doing this to open us up so that we can go into the shadow, right? So it's not an avoidance. It's not a toxic positivity. It's not like, oh, you're feeling the pain or you're feeling the pull and you don't want to go there. We'll do this and this will anchor you into here so you can move forward and you don't have to do that. It's like, no. That's not the invitation. I mean, sure, try it, do it that way, right? Start somewhere. But ultimately, the strengthening and the opening of this is what will bring you into the place that you're being pulled to anyways, because you're a magnificent, brilliant warrior who's here to help raise the consciousness on planet Earth. This is what it looks like. Okay. So there's many heart illuminating, strengthening practices out there, but I'm just going to start sharing, and it'll probably weave through a few different ones and you just take what works for you. So the first one, actually, this is kind of perfect because I'm seeing myself right here on the screen. The first one would involve a mirror. So standing in front of a mirror and looking into your own eyes first and really just connecting with yourself and seeing yourself. And bringing love to yourself just through your eyes and just in the appreciation that you have for who you are, the things you do, how you already are supporting yourself, how you already love and care for yourself, and how what your devotion already is, whether it's a spiritual practice, whether it's to your family, whether it's to your work, whether it's just to your own healing, your own level of self-acceptance. Like, just connect with yourself and just bring love and appreciation here. And this is like with your awareness, with your consciousness, like love and appreciation with your consciousness. And once you have that, breathing in and dropping that awareness and that consciousness into your heart space. And then you can even move your eyes down, breathing that appreciation, that love into your heart space for yourself. And just notice how this space gets to fill with that awareness and that love and that appreciation. Just allow it, just breathe and be here with yourself and just be in the experience of allowing this to expand and grow. I would say just stay here and breathe and bring your awareness in just for like 60 seconds. And then when that feels complete, coming back up, like keeping your awareness, like, you were here, so stay here, but bring your eyes back up and look at yourself. And again, just breathing in with that awareness of that heart-centered energy and just reconnect with yourself. And just feel the strength of this. Feel the strength of this practice. But that just took like a minute. So imagine if you did that once a day or throughout the day. That's a beautiful, beautiful way to strengthen your heart for this practice, for this journey, for this spiritual warrior journey into the shadow. Another practice is to move into your heart and to notice what are the different layers here that I get to move through till I get to my center, till I get to my center of my heart, the center of my heart, the center of my heart. So I've had other videos that take you into your heart space. The last one, I don't remember what it's called. Sorry, I can't think about that right now, but it's just dropping into truth, dropping truth into your body. And I think in that one, it was like, well, where does truth drop into your body? This time it's like, where is truth? Like, what's the truth in your heart? Like, what is the truth in your heart that no matter what, it's your truth, right? So accessing and connecting to that is a really beautiful practice. And you are going to just notice the different layers that you move through. So just like, so in your brain, we're going to enter this in your mind, and just think of something that you know is for you, something that you already are living, like your children or your home or your practice, your work, like the things, like what you're already doing that you know is an alignment to you, or something that you're calling in that you know that isn't. Just get into that mindset consciousness. And then when you have that, bring that consciousness down, down, down into your heart and just breathe through the layers, the protective layers that you might have around your heart. And just let this, because if it's for you, if it's truly aligned to you, it'll keep sinking through until it gets to your center, gets to your center, gets to your center. Just find the center, find the center, find the center of your heart. You might see it as a pinprick illumination of white light. It's whatever, it's the center when you'll find the very center of it, the core of your heart, and bring this consciousness into the core of your heart and let the center, the core of your heart, hold what you know is true, like the most aligned part of you. Bring into your heart, bring your awareness of it into the very center of your heart. And just let it land. Let it move, let it take root, let it make itself home, let it reconnect with this part of you that is always going to lead you on the exact path in the exact way where this beautiful gift that either you're already living or you're wanting to live more of will unfold for you, right? Continuously. And so right here, what you're doing is you're activating trust and just a knowing, like, this is mine, this is for me. And we're bringing that into the heart space. And this strengthens the heart space, right? So that's what these practices are, just to strengthen, to bring in a stronger scaffolding for you. And it also illuminates. So another way that you can illuminate with this practice is to bring that consciousness in and then to ask your heart space, what do I need to know now about this that I desire, that is mine? Another question, some more questions are coming. What is it that I need to work through in order to claim this and live this at the deepest level? So illuminating, receive the answers. Show me what the next part of my journey looks like and what the gifts are for me here. Right? Things are always changing and evolving. Even if you already have the thing you desire the most, it is changing and evolving. So you get to change and evolve with it. Oftentimes, this journey, if we are wanting to open up to more joy, more connection, more prosperity, more abundance, more, we are going to have to move into the shadow to reclaim a part of ourselves so that we can have that's capacity to experience that. Beautiful. So always, always is another way. This is just another simple practice. I always do this at the end of any practice, but it is in itself a practice. Thanking your heart space. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for being here with me. Hand on heart, breathing into heart, bringing your own love and appreciation to your heart, right? There's another practice. Thanking your desires, thanking what is for you, for showing up for you always. And I guarantee, if you just think back to the process of attaining and receiving and having the things that you currently have that are aligned to you, what did that shadow work look like? And it could be that there's more to take it to the next level. I guarantee there's more. Okay, my beautiful friends. Wow, that was so gorgeous to be able to share all that with you. I hope that you got something out of it. What did you get out of it? Please comment below. I'd love to know what you got out of this video. And I look forward to sharing with you again very soon. All my love to you. Until next time.